If weight management is one of your New Year goals, Quicksilver Scientific's GLP-1 amplifier can help. This science-backed formula supports metabolic balance, curbs cravings, and promotes healthy blood sugar levels, making it easier to stay consistent and in control. It helps give your body the boost it needs to keep you on track. Feel confident and energized this year with Quicksilver Scientific's GLP-1 amplifier. Get 10% off and free shipping at tryqs.com/podcast. Again, that's tryqs.com/podcast for 10% off and free shipping. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Not all of our minisodes need to be from listeners. In fact, places or lesser-known cases can sometimes take us to dark realms. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another installment of Dark Realms. Of course, as we're doing Dark Realms bi-weekly now, we are going to mix things up somewhat. So, last time we looked at the wonderful, amazing life of Guy Lyon Playfair before his involvement with the Enfield case. However, this time around we're reverting to type, and we are going to take a look at a dark realm that is the most requested dark realm of all time. And that is none other than the dark realm of the Tower of London. But the Tower of London with a twist, because we're going to be taking a look at some of the lesser known spirits which frequent the infamous tower. Now, it speaks to the volume of paranormal activity within the tower that you could arguably do a series of Dark Realms episodes about one location. But today we'll be taking a look at some of the spectres and entities which may not feature so prominently in any of the standard ghost story books, but it doesn't make them any less terrifying. Now, before we dive into this look at one of the most historic places on Earth, we of course need to let you know that we're still accepting submissions for this season. Yes, normally after the start of our second half of a season, we begin accepting submissions for the following season, which indeed we are. But due to us having to replace an episode of The Dark Paranormal this week, it means that we are also looking for one special episode to become part of the final half of this season. But as I said also, we're still looking for those episodes for next season too. So if you're sat on a paranormal experience that you've always wanted to share, but have never felt like you found the right place, believe me, you have now. So please go to the show notes where you'll find a link to submit your true paranormal experience direct to the show. And if you're a fan of the show and you like what you hear, you'll also find a link to our Patreon, where we're giving away a free week trial at the highest tier, so you can also access our Patreon-only podcast, Dark Bites, and its entire 180-plus hour back catalogue. Not only that, but also access to our new Patreon-only audio and video podcast, After Dark, where I take an unfiltered, unedited, 30-minute non-stop recording about my views and theories on what we've covered that week. So either click the link in the show notes or go direct to patreon.com/The Dark Paranormal. But right now, whether you've got some break time to yourself or whether you're working, allow your mind to come with me as we look at one of the most infamous and terrifying places on Earth, the Tower of London. The tower began as an act of conquest and intimidation. William the Conqueror began building it in the 1070s as a massive stone fortress to secure London and project royal power. Specific stone was brought in from France, and the initial program took roughly 2 decades to complete. At the heart of this complex stands the White Tower. Begun around 1078 and completed around 1100, it was designed not only to resist attack, but to overawe the city. Over centuries, the tower has shifted roles: fortress, palace, armory, treasury, and prison, all the while accumulating the sort of human residue that later generations translate into haunting, incarcerations, political terror, and, in certain periods, torture and interrogation. The result is a site that UNESCO World Heritage Centre describes as a rare survival of a continuously developing royal complex from the 11th century to the 16th century, and as an outstanding example of 11th century Norman military architecture. That long continuity matters. It means later witnesses to any ghosts or experiences, they're not speaking about a ruin or a single haunted house, but a living ensemble of rooms, towers, passages, and residences that remained in use, sometimes domestically, inside a fortified boundary. The first spirit we'll take a look at is not a king and not a queen, not even recognizable as human. It is described as a hovering thing, tubular, glass-like, internally churning, and, most unnervingly, capable of choosing a victim in a room full of people. Its core witness is Edmund Lenthal Swift, who lived at the tower as keeper of the crown jewels. His account was printed in Notes and Queries and later republished in Glimpses of the Supernatural. Swift sets the scene with domestic normality. Supper at the witching hour in the jewel house, lit by candles, curtains drawn, the family seated. Then the room's ordinary geometry is violated, silently, without footsteps, without a door opening, by something that hangs between the ceiling and table. In his words, his wife stops mid-sip and cries, "Good God, what is that?" A moment later, the cylindrical figure like a glass tube begins to move, tracking the table's shape with a deliberate slowness, as if it was testing the air, learning the room, or counting the living. It paused over a shoulder, and then comes the line which has helped this become legend in parts of the tower. "Oh Christ, it has seized me!" From a paranormal perspective, this is the tower at its bleakest. The cylinders and fluids evoke laboratory glassware. The careful hovering feels intelligent. The seizing implies contact rather than mere presence. Swift's reaction is not a romantic shiver, but a violent, visceral, defensive response. He grabbed a chair and struck the wall behind this object, as though trying to break an unseen grip. What makes this account darker, more like occult narrative than campfire tale, is that Swift offers a context of suspected phantasmagorical experiments by young residents in the tower shortly before the event. A hint that someone, somewhere, within those residences, was attempting optical tricks or something darker, more esoteric, aimed solely at producing apparitions in the dark. Whether prank, hallucination, psychic attack, or some sort of conjuration, the cylinder's defining horror is its intimacy. It comes into most private human settings, i.e., a family table. It moves with ritual slowness, and it singles out flesh. let's have a quick break to talk to you about Acorns. Acorns wants to show a little love to everyone who's on their way to some money goal. Now, a money goal may sound like something everyone has, but believe me, they don't. And even when you think you do, you don't really take into account the step-by-step incremental measurements that need to be made in order to achieve said goal, which is something I personally don't have the time to do. This is where Acorns do their magic, because they try to take you from where's my money today to that goal. And the way they do that is they focus on where your money is going to be tomorrow. There's two major things I want to point out with this. You don't need a bundle of cash to invest. You can invest your spare change. And the second thing is, I'm fortunate enough that the money I've invested, I've seen grow. And using the app, I can see that visually. They also have a potential screen. It shows you the power of compounding your money and how by doing so, you could grow it over time. Basically, for me, Acorns is an all-in-one. Invest, save, and give your money a chance to grow in one trusted place. Sign up now and Acorns will boost your new account with a $5 bonus investment. Join the over 14 million all-time customers who've already saved and invested over $27 billion with Acorns. Head to acorns.com/dark paranormal or download the Acorns app to get started. Paid non-client endorsements. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 11 compensation provided. Potential subject to various factors such as customers' accounts, age, and investment settings. Does not include Acorns fees. Results do not predict or represent the performance of any Acorns portfolio. Investment results will vary. Investment involves risk. Acorns Advisors LLC and SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/dark-paranormal. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. A great job, married, dating, single. The truth is, most of us are still finding our way through this thing called life. And especially in February, the month of love, Valentine's Day, etc. If you're single, it can be a really rough time. Even if you're in a relationship, maybe things aren't going well. Maybe they're going too well, and that in your mind feels a bit off. But therapy can help you find what you want out of a relationship, out of a job, out of a career, out of a life. Now, I'm not ashamed to say in the slightest I've been in therapy for now over 2 years, and it's helped me immensely. Now, of course, I'm in the UK, but BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the US. They do the initial matching work for you so you can focus on your therapy goals. A quick questionnaire will identify your needs and preferences, and their 12 years plus of experience and industry-leading match fulfillment rate means they typically get it right first time every time. And if you're not happy with your match, switch to a different therapist at any time from their tailored recommendations. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, serving over 6 million people globally. And it works. With an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. So sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com. That's betterhelp.com.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace.
Last year, I went through many different life changes. I needed to take a pause and examine how I was feeling in the inside to better show up for the ones who need me to be my best version of myself.
When you're navigating life's changes, Talkspace can help. Talkspace is the #1 rated online therapy, bringing you professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatry providers that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Living a busy life, navigating a long-distance relationship, becoming a first-step father, Talkspace made all of those journeys possible. I could speak with my therapist in the office. I could speak with my therapist in the comfort of my home. I was never alone.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Next, if the cylinder is an intelligent violation, our next spirit is predation. The tower kept animals for centuries, and Henry III's menagerie is documented as including a magnificent white bear, likely a polar bear, given in 1252 by the King of Norway. It was kept muzzled and chained, yet allowed to swim and hunt fish in the River Thames. That history of captive beasts becomes the foundation for a later, much, much darker claim that a bear-like apparition stalked the Jewel House area and left at least one soldier dead from sheer terror. In the tower's most influential printed ghost trail, the story is tied to a bear. That is not merely animal but diabolically human-faced. William Gregory recorded a version in his 1851 work Letters to a Candid Inquirer on Animal Magnetism. Appears in Harper's New Monthly Magazine in February 1852. The 1852 retelling is both curt and blunt about the creature's effect on the body. The sentry, after seeing the apparition, doesn't merely run. He collapses, changes colour, and speaks like a condemned man. When the colonel tries to reassure him, the sentry answers, "From the moment I saw that infernal demon, I knew I was a dead man." Then comes the grim coda that makes this a tower story rather than a spooky encounter. He dies within 48 hours. Modern research into the origins of this tale highlights how contested this bear narrative is, even within 19th century sources. In their reconstruction, witnesses' correspondence printed in notes and queries dispute details and dates, but converge on 2 points. A bear-like ghost was reported, and the shock was described as fatal. From an occult/paranormal stance, the phantom bear functions as a classic guardian predator haunting, appearing in the overly used term a liminal area, it being a guarded doorway, a stair, a threshold to valuables. It provokes instinctive weapon use, bayonets, chairs, and it seems to punish the body for looking at it. The tower's own modern retellings point out that the story was repeatedly entangled with contemporary fixations, mesmerism, spiritualism, and the theatre of illusion, suggesting either a cultural engine for invention or, in darker interpretations, a period-specific rise in the deliberate summoning and manifestation of demonic entities for experiments. But even stripped of all esoteric framing, the phantom bear remains terrifying because it weaponizes the most basic human fear. That moment you realize your weapon, irrelevant of what it is, can't touch what's coming at you. Our third and final spirit is unique, in the way it's not defined by a body or a face, but by a place. The Salt Tower, a structure used for storage and imprisonment, built into the curtain wall works of Henry III in the 1230s. The tower's records and modern scholarship underline that this is not a fake Gothic set. Prisoners scratched prayers, names, symbols and drawings into its stone, leaving what one recent investigation calls physical first-person records of confinement. In a major graffiti survey led by James Ingram, the Salt Tower alone yielded hundreds of examples, including an astrological sphere carved by Hugh Draper, imprisoned in 1561 after being accused of practicing sorcery, despite having claimed not that he wasn't a sorcerer, but that he destroyed all his magical books. That matters to the haunting claim because the alleged manifestations cluster around a tower already saturated with symbols of belief, persecution, coded identity, and, in Draper's case, star lore and forbidden practice. Historically, the Salt Tower is tied to religious imprisonment and violence. Its most famous inmate was the Jesuit priest John Gerard. Gerard was held and tortured there in 1597 during the reign of Elizabeth I. Even the tower's own interpretation stresses that torture was used as an interrogation by royal authority in this period. And Gerard's writings include the cold mechanics of restraint. They left me hanging by my hands and arms fastened above my head. Language that feels less like history and more like a curse. Against that backdrop, the tower's less famous but deeply unnerving ghost reports around the Salt Tower and its battlements read like a persistence of pressure. In 1957, 2 guardsmen reported seeing a shapeless white form high on the roof. In 1973, a yeoman warder reported a glow from a prison chamber, followed by the tactile shock of something touching the back of his neck. Modern warders have also repeated a detail that will interest any paranormal investigator. Dogs. As any dog that they've attempted to use has refused to enter. A related legend, often treated as overlapping with these white form sightings, attaches to Lady Jane Grey, who was imprisoned and executed in 1554 after being swept up in violent secession politics while still a teenager. Her ghost is said to appear on the anniversary of her death, walking along the battlements, and tower tradition places one striking sighting on the 12th of February, the 403rd anniversary, when a white shape was seen forming itself on the battlements. From an occult perspective, this is the most ritualized of the 3 hauntings. It's bound to dates, high places, and threshold architecture, roofline, battlements, chambers. It's also the only one of the 3 that explicitly includes the idea of a presence reaching for the living, the reported touch at the neck. A detail that, whether psychological, environmental, or supernatural, straddles that uncomfortable line between intimate and predatory. Taken together, these 3 lesser-known tower entities share traits that make them feel darker than the famous spectral procession stories. They occur in security spaces, not ceremonial ones. Jewel house rooms, guarded thresholds, battlement heights, and prison chambers. They feature physical consequences. In the Jewel house accounts, a witness reports being seized. A sentry collapses, death following shortly after. In Salt Tower lore, a glow is followed by a touch, an invasion of the body's boundary. All 3 also sit at the intersection of 3 dark engines, ones that repeatedly appear in the tower's documented history and later storytelling: confinement, sanctioned violence, and experiments. Whether literal, torture devices and interrogation, symbolic, i.e. graffiti as coded prayer or assertion, or occult adjacent, phantasmagoria, mesmerism, astrological carving, and other techniques of influence and illusion. Now, of course, despite what we all, myself included, may believe of the Tower of London, none of this proves that those spirits are real. But what it does demonstrate, rigorously, is that the tower's most frightening legends are not merely modern tourist inventions. They are, in significant cases, anchored by named witnesses, printed arguments about what was seen, and a site history that gives these stories their enduring force. The unsettling sense that inside these walls, the past is not finished. It's only quiet. Thank you all for joining me on this dark realm, the Tower of London. and I can't wait to see you all next time back here for another Dark Realm. Until then, stay safe and take care.